The Legend of Jigong Chapter 122.
The source material we're diving into kicks off with a scenario that really tests that subversive nature against incredibly high stakes.
Oh yeah, the stakes could not be higher.
So we open with two servants, men named Zufu and Zulu, and they are frantically running around the city trying to locate Jigong. Their master's friend is dealing with a supernatural crisis of basically catastrophic proportions.
Oh, a literal nightmare.
Yeah. There's a demon residing at a place called Baishu Lake, and this entity is demanding a horrifying tribute. It's eating one virgin boy and one virgin girl every single day.
Every day.
The town is completely paralyzed. It's an absolute nightmare scenario where the clock is just constantly ticking down to the next tragedy.
And the urgency is so palpable there. You have these two desperate servants who finally track down this legendary living Buddha at a local temple.
Right. They find him.
Yeah, they find him. And from a traditional narrative standpoint, this is the moment the hero receives the call to action.
The music swells.
Exactly. You expect Jigong to drop whatever he's doing, summon his divine authority, and rush to Baishui Lake to confront the monster.
Which is what makes his actual response so baffling.
Yeah.
And it's the servants beg for his help, and Jigong hears them out. He acknowledges the child-eating demon.
Yeah, he knows it's happening.
But then he offers an excuse that brings the entire epic momentum to a screeching halt. He looks at these panicked men and claims he cannot possibly go with them right now because he just took in a new 9-year-old disciple.
A kid.
Yeah, and he says the kid is simply too, quote, naughty to be left alone.
And the specificity of the excuse is what makes it so absurd. He isn't claiming he has to perform a complex ritual or gather magical artifacts.
No?
He tells the servants that if he leaves this 9-year-old unsupervised, the child will tear the paper windows, rub incense ash on people, or pee in the cooking pots.
It's so weird.
Yeah, he reduces a mission to save dying children to a mundane babysitting conflict.
I found myself putting the text down for a second when I read that.
Yeah.
Because, okay, let's unpack this. I was trying to map this onto a modern equivalent.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine a city mayor calling in the commander of an elite SWAT team for an active life-or-death hostage situation downtown.
Right, high stakes.
And the commander picks up the phone and says, look, I'd love to come secure the perimeter, but my toddler's really acting up today, so I'm going to have to pass.
It's ridiculous.
It is. And its servants must be thinking, this is just a minor logistical hurdle. Like, They probably figure they can just bring the kid along or hire a watcher. So they walk into the main hall of the temple to find this unruly 9-year-old.
And instead, they find a 59-year-old man.
Yeah, a 59-year-old man.
A man who is completely shirtless and sporting a long, dark beard.
A completely grown middle-aged man. And not just a random guy, but a former Taoist named Sun Daoquan. The servants walk in expecting a child, and this shirtless 59-year-old looks at them and just throws Jigong right under the bus.
Oh, completely.
He says, do not listen to my master. He is a liar. I don't tear windows, I don't rub ash on people, and I certainly don't pee in pots. Just take him and go save the town.
And see, that visual alone is a masterpiece of dismantling ego. What's fascinating here is that Jigong isn't just delaying the rescue mission. He is orchestrating a highly specific public humiliation of his new disciple.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because in the cultural context of the time, a 59-year-old man, especially a former Taoist practitioner, commands inherent respect simply based on his age and his spiritual background.
You would defer to him automatically.
Exactly. And Jigong strips all of that away literally and metaphorically. He forces a grown, respected man into the behavioral role of a mischievous toddler, which exposes the fragility of social status.
And Sun Daoquan is clearly horrified by this framing. I mean, he knows he's losing face in front of these wealthy servants, but Jigong just doubles down. He flatly refuses to leave the temple to go fight the demon unless his, quote, disciple comes with him.
Right, he won't budge.
And Sun Daoquan, reacting the way literally any rational person would, refuses to walk through the bustling city streets without a shirt on. I mean, it's a matter of basic dignity.
But dignity is exactly the concept Jigong is targeting. When Sun refuses to walk, Jigong doesn't argue. He points a finger, utters a very brief magical command, Om Shi Ling, and physically hijacks the old man's bodily autonomy.
He just takes over.
Yeah, the spell just forces Sun Daoquan's legs to move against his will.
Let's look closer at the mechanics of that magic, though, because it feels so casual. He doesn't draw a glowing circle or chant for 10 minutes. 4 syllables, and a human being's free will is just overridden.
Well, the phrasing of the spell, specifically the Qiling part, is significant. In Chinese magical traditions, a Qiling is essentially an imperial edict. It's a divine command from the highest authorities of the cosmos.
So it's not a minor spell.
Not at all. It's an assertion of absolute, unquestionable power over the physical realm. By using such a potent command for something as petty as making a shirtless man walk down the street, Jigong is demonstrating that the fabric of reality yields to him effortlessly.
Wow.
But he's applying that godlike power to create a farce.
Which creates this incredible friction for the reader. Because we know there are children dying at Baishui Lake.
The clock is ticking.
Yes, time is running out. And yet, the supposed savior of the story is burning daylight, playing an elaborate, seemingly cruel prank on a middle-aged man. We have two wealthy, dignified servants who are forced to pull this magically compelled, half-naked, bearded guy through the public square with a ragged, dirty monk trailing behind them. Why? Like, is Jigong just a sadist? Is he incapable of taking things seriously? Or is there a method to the madness, like a philosophical lesson buried in this public embarrassment?
The philosophical lesson is the entire point, though it comes at the expense of Sun's comfort. This is a radical lesson in detachment.
Okay.
Sun Do-kwon is holding on to his pride. He's obsessed with how he'll be perceived by society if he's seen shirtless.
Sure, anyone would be.
Right. But by forcing him to literally march through his own shame, Jigong is showing him, and the reader, that these societal anxieties, the concept of losing face, are entirely meaningless constructs. He's breaking the disciples' ego before they even reach the battlefield.
That paints a picture of a teacher who relies on extreme shock therapy. Like, he forces you to confront the illusion of your own self-importance.
Very much so.
And this theme of illusion versus reality crashes right into our next scene. The narrative transition here is fantastic.
So good.
You have this chaotic, embarrassing trio marching straight to the Taiping Street estate of Zhu Bancheng, who was a wealthy patron. And inside, they're introduced to Hu Shuzhang. Now, this man is the antithesis of the shirtless Sun Do-kwon, whose is a refined silk merchant.
Very put together.
Exactly, dressed impeccably in a blue silk jacket. He embodies wealth, culture, social standing.
But he is also a man who has been utterly hollowed out by grief. The text reveals a crucial detail here. The demon at Baishui Lake didn't just terrorize the town generally, it took Hu Shuzhang's own child.
Oh, man.
So when Jigong arrives, he finds a broken father weeping, begging a holy man to step in and stop this massacre before it destroys what's left of his world.
The emotional stakes peak right here. You have a grieving father on his knees pleading for salvation. And here's where it gets really interesting. How does the living Buddha respond?
Yeah, it's crazy.
He doesn't offer a blessing. He doesn't offer words of comfort. He immediately pivots to mundane administrative logistics. Yeah, he tells the weeping merchant, I can catch demons, sure, but I don't have any travel money to get there. Also, my disciple needs some clothes. He is basically using a tragedy to shake down a grieving father for cash.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the tonal whiplash is just violent. And Sun Do-kwon, the humiliated disciple, actively participates in this extortion.
He chimes right in.
He chimes in to explain why he is shirtless in the first place. He tells the wealthy merchant that he pawned his clothes at Qintang Pass. And the punchline to that reveal is the reason why he pawned them. He gave the money to Jigong to buy wine.
It's staggering. The merchant is talking about a supernatural massacre, and the holy men are talking about covering a bar tab and getting a shirt out of hock.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was trying to wrap my head around the sheer audacity of this interaction, but the text pushes the envelope even further. Sun Do-kwon pulls out his pawn ticket, hands it over, and then actually asks this desperate, weeping father for an additional 100 coins to redeem his fly whisk.
That specific detail, the fly whisk, deserves a closer look, actually, because it elevates the scene from a simple comedic misunderstanding into a profound critique of religious hypocrisy.
How so?
Well, in Taoist and Buddhist monastic traditions, a fly whisk, which is often made of animal hair attached to a handle, is not just a tool to swat bugs.
Oh.
No, it's a deeply symbolic implement. Monks carry it to signify the sweeping away of ignorance, worldly desires, and the dust of the mortal realm.
Okay, so it's a physical representation of spiritual detachment.
Precisely. Now consider the irony layered into this moment. Sun Do-kwon, a man who claims spiritual authority, literally pawned his symbol of detachment from worldly desires.
Just to buy booze.
Yeah, in order to fund his master's desire for alcohol. And now, in the face of a grieving father, his priority is securing the cash to buy his prop back so he can look the part of a holy man again. The text is weaponizing these objects to mock the superficiality of religious aesthetics.
He pawned his spiritual authority for a drink, and now he wants the rich guy to buy it back for him. And the crazy thing is, Xu Shang just pays it.
He doesn't even blink.
He's so desperate, he doesn't question the absurdity. He sends a servant to the pawn shop with the money, the clothes are retrieved, the fly whisk is recovered, and the moment Sun Do-Quan puts his robes back on and holds his little symbol of detachment, the narrative notes a complete transformation.
It's instant.
He instantly looks like a proper, dignified immortal again. His aura of respectability returns the second the silk hits his shoulders.
And the narrator of the text punctuates this transformation with a very cynical, very grounded proverb. Clothes make the man, a saddle makes the horse.
Which is such a sharp indictment of how we assign value to people. 20 minutes ago, this guy was a shirtless punchline magically dragged through the dirt. A naughty toddler.
Yeah, a complete joke.
But you put the right uniform on him, paid for by someone else's money, and society immediately bows to him as revered sage. It validates Jigong's entire chaotic approach. He dragged them through this embarrassing ordeal to prove that human judgment is entirely anchored to packaging.
And Jigong operates from a vantage point where he sees the ultimate unvarnished reality of the universe. To a being with that level of enlightenment, a grieving merchant's silk jacket, a pawn shirt, a terrifying demon, and a cup of wine are all just fleeting, temporary phenomena.
They don't matter.
Right? They hold no intrinsic weight. He forces these wealthy, serious men to participate in his highly transactional, slightly humiliating reality before he will even engage with their supernatural crisis. He makes them play by his rules, breaking down their reliance on status and wealth.
So after shaking down the merchant, they're finally geared up. Sun is dressed, the travel money is secured. As a reader, you assume the party is finally heading to Baishui Lake to confront the child eater.
Right, the main quest.
The prologue is over, the main quest begins. Instead, Jidong calls a massive detour. He tells them they aren't going to Baishui Lake yet. They have to travel to a place called Xiaoyu Village because he claims he has a prior appointment to catch a demon for a friend named Ma Jing.
And this detour introduces a completely different texture to the narrative. If the demon at Baishui Lake represents a brute force physical threat, like a monster consuming flesh, the entity terrorizing Xiaoyu Village is a masterclass in psychological dread.
The villagers describe this thing, and it doesn't sound like a traditional beast. They say it's a 10-foot-tall white mass of gas or energy.
So kooky.
Very. It's already killed over 20 people in the village.
Yeah.
But the terror comes from its methodology. It doesn't rampage. It moves methodically house by house, night by night.
Yeah.
It arrives riding the west wind. It projects a guttural, nonsensical phrase. Han, han, pa, ta.
Yeah.
And the most chilling detail. If this entity looks at your door and smiles, someone inside that house will die.
And the mechanics of that curse are incredibly effective for building tension. The phrase Han Han Tao Tao functions as an auditory trigger.
Like a warning siren.
Yes. It echoes in the darkness, signaling an unstoppable creeping doom. And the act of smiling at the door turns a universal symbol of warmth into a harbinger of death. It taps into very primal, very modern fears of the unseen threat that you cannot fight with conventional weapons.
My mind instantly went to modern horror cinema. I mean, it operates like a physical, supernatural chain letter.
Oh yeah, like it follows or something.
Exactly. You know it's moving down the street. You know who is next. You're just sitting in your house waiting for the wind to howl and that eerie smile to land on your front door.
Terrifying.
And today the villagers tell Jigong it is Ma Jing's turn. But so what does this all mean? This brings up a massive question regarding Jigong's moral compass. Why does he put the child-eating demon on hold to prioritize this village? Is he playing favorites just because Ma Jing is a friend?
Well, this raises an important question, and the text provides a specific philosophical framework to answer that. Though it might feel cold to a modern reader.
Okay.
It explicitly references the concept that events are destined in the numbers, hard to escape.
Destined in the numbers.
Yes. Jigong is not operating on a human scale of emotional triage. He isn't weighing the tragedy of the merchant against the tragedy of the village and making a subjective choice.
Like who deserves it more?
Exactly. He doesn't do that. He is reading the cosmic schedule. He knows precisely where he is meant to be in the mathematical fabric of destiny. He's at Ma Jing's house today because the numbers dictate that the demon will arrive there today.
So he is essentially reading the source code of the universe.
That's a great way to put it.
He knows the train schedule of fate. And while they're at Ma Jing's house waiting for this scheduled doom, we get another moment that complicates our understanding of Jigong. Ma Jing begs him to look at two men in the village, Zhao Liang and He King.
Oh, the comatose guys.
Right. These men had a run-in with the demon 20 days ago, and simply from being breathed on by this entity, they fell into a deep coma. They are essentially corpses that are still breathing.
And Jigong approaches this medical emergency with the same casual energy he used to ask for wine money. He doesn't perform a grand healing ritual. He produces a pill, asks for it to be dissolved in yin-yang water, and just pours it down their throats.
Let's pause on the yin-yang water for a second, because it sounds like a very specific alchemical requirement. What exactly is that, and why does a magical pill need it?
Well, yin-yang water is a staple in traditional Chinese medicine and Taoist alchemy. It's typically a mixture of two types of water. So often half freshly boiled hot water, which represents the active masculine yang energy,
Okay.
and half cold well water or river water, representing the passive feminine yin energy. Mixing them symbolizes the union and balance of the cosmos.
I see.
So by dissolving the pill in this water, Jigong is essentially rebooting the comatose men's internal energy. He's restoring the balance that the demon's breath disrupted.
And it works instantaneously. The two men wake up, and they describe the 20-day coma as feeling like they're waking up from a long, confusing dream. But the fascinating part is their reaction when they focus their eyes and realize who just saved their lives.
Oh yeah, they freak out.
They immediately start bowing, apologizing profusely, and acting terrified. Why? Because the text reveals that these two men had previously deeply offended Jigong. They were his detractors, maybe even enemies.
And this interaction serves as a vital counterweight to everything we've seen Jigong do so far. I mean, we watched him humiliate a proud man. We watched him extort a grieving father. He's presented himself as a chaotic, cynical trickster.
Right.
But here, faced with men who have actively wronged him, he saves them without a second thought. And when they apologize, he waves it off entirely, telling them it's no big deal.
It proves that beneath the grime, the alcohol, and the offensive behavior, there's a core of radical universal compassion. He operates with absolute equality, like he will mock a rich man who comes asking for help, and he will casually resurrect a sworn enemy.
Yeah, he doesn't discriminate.
He's completely unbound by the ego-driven rules of who, quote, deserves salvation. He doesn't hold grudges because a grudge requires an ego to be offended in the first place.
Exactly. His actions are guided by benevolence, but a benevolence that refuses to conform to polite society's expectations, which sets the stage perfectly for the climax of the chapter.
Oh man, here we go.
He has saved his enemies, the sun is going down, the 10-foot smiling death cloud is scheduled to arrive at any moment. The villagers are terrified, and Jigong decides that the most critical pressing action to take at this juncture
I love this part.
is to order everyone to start drinking wine.
The tension here is just unbearable. He literally says other things aren't important, drinking is the main event. He makes a terrified villagers set a banquet table, and they sit there eating and getting drunk all the way until the first watch of the night.
Is waiting.
You have these mortals fully aware that a massacre is marching down the street toward them, watching their only hope get completely plastered.
And the author builds the atmosphere masterfully. The feast continues until the west wind finally begins to howl. The text notes that the sound makes everyone's blood run cold.
Yeah.
They hear the signature guttural shout outside the door. Han han tato. The demon has arrived to claim its scheduled victim.
The villagers freeze in pure terror, and the narrative describes Jigong's reaction in very specific physical terms. He moves toward the door, staggering with unsteady steps. He is visibly heavily intoxicated. He stumbles out into the night.
He's facing a massive 10-foot pillar of white deadly energy that has already killed 20 people.
And he doesn't pull out a glowing sword. He doesn't chant a sacred text. He looks at this towering nightmare, takes off his own dirty, ragged monk hat, swats the demon with it, pins it to the ground, and just casually mutters, "Caught it."
It is the ultimate narrative anticlimax. And from a philosophical standpoint, it is absolutely brilliant.
I have to say, as a reader conditioned by action movies and fantasy epics, I felt a twinge of disappointment initially. Yeah. We had this incredible buildup, the creepy catchphrase, the howling wind, the ticking clock, the body count. It felt like we were gearing up for a monumental battle between light and dark.
And then just a hat.
And then he just swats it with a piece of dirty laundry. It's like grinding for hours to reach the final boss of a video game, and you accidentally defeat it by dropping a rock on its foot.
What?
Where is the epic struggle? Doesn't the lack of a fight undermine the threat of the demon?
Well, it only feels like a letdown if you're applying the framework of the Western hero's journey.
Okay.
In that tradition, the hero's worth is proven through struggle. They must face a nearly insurmountable obstacle, suffer a setback, and push themselves to the absolute limit to achieve victory.
Right. The struggle validates the
Right.
victory.
The struggle is what validates their heroism.
Mhm.
But classical Chinese literature, particularly texts dealing with Taoist and Buddhist enlightened beings, operates on a completely different paradigm.
Because struggle implies a lack of mastery.
Precisely. There's a core Taoist concept called Wu Wei, which translates roughly to non-action or effortless action.
Wu Wei.
Yeah, it's the idea that true alignment with the Tao, the fundamental nature of the universe, allows one to accomplish monumental things without forcing them. If Jigong had to struggle, sweat, and chant complex spells to defeat the demon, it would imply that the demon was a worthy adversary.
I see.
It would suggest that the forces of darkness hold equal weight to the forces of enlightenment.
The effort itself would validate the monster's power.
Yes, his drunken stumbling is not a handicap. It is a physical manifestation of his complete lack of fear. Fear requires attachment. It requires a belief that the physical world can harm your essential self.
Right.
By defeating a massive, horrifying threat with zero effort, using the most mundane, unhygienic item imaginable, Jigong actively mocks the concept of fear. He reduces a village-destroying terror to the level of a pesky mosquito. It is the ultimate display of spiritual dominance.